Let's continue working the monthly budget spreadsheet. If you still have another workbook open from earlier exercises, close it and return to the monthly budget spreadsheet before continuing. In the previous lesson, we created formulas using cell references and mathematical operators. For example, we added values together using plus signs and calculated percentages using division formulas. We also introduced the concept of relative and absolute cell references. Now we are moving into one of the most important features in Excel, functions. Functions are pre-built formulas designed to perform calculations quickly and efficiently. While they may seem slightly more advanced at first, they will save a significant amount of time, make your spreadsheets much easier to manage. Let's start with the most commonly used Excel function, the sum function. First, remove the totals currently displayed in the worksheet. And delete those values as well. Once the totals are removed, you may notice that the percentage calculations display errors. This happens because the formula no longer have values to reference, which is completely normal for now. Now click into the B10, where the first total will be calculated. Instead of typing a long formula with multiple addition operators, we'll use sum function to calculate the total automatically. There are two ways to create the function. You can either manually type it using equal sum in bracket P5 to P9, or you can use the tools available in the Excel ribbon. To do this, go to the formulas tab and locate the function library. So it's ready. This is the functions library. This right here. This area contains a large collection of built-in Excel functions organized into categories such as financial, logical, text, data, and time, lookup and reference, and method trick. Open the method trick category and select the sum from the list. Excel will open a function argument window. In many cases, Excel automatically identifies the correct range. So it already. Such as B5 to B9, if the correct ranges does not appear automatically, simply click inside the number one field and select the cells. The window also provides a preview of selected values and calculated results. If you can see here, 1200, 450, 795, 150. Once the correct range is selected, click OK to insert the function and calculate the total. Repeat the same process for the remaining monthly totals across the worksheet, then complete the total in column F using the sum function as well. By the end of the exercise, all the totals in the worksheet should be calculated using functions rather than manually addition formula. Thank you. As you can see, using the sum function is much faster and more efficient compared to manually typing long formulas such as the this repeatedly with the sum function. All you need to do is type equal sum, open the parentheses, select the range of the cells, close the parentheses, and Excel calculates the results instantly. Once you understand the process, you can quickly apply the same method to all the rest of the worksheet, or you can just use the autofill option after using the sum function. The sum function is especially useful when working with large amount of data because it reduces typing, minimizes mistakes, and makes formulas easier to read. Instead of creating long addition formulas manually, Excel can perform the calculation automatically using a simple range reference. However, it is also important to understand that there are situations where manually written formulas are still useful. The sum function is designed specifically for addition. It can only add together the values contained within the selected range of cell. If you need to perform more advanced calculation involving subtraction, multiplication, or division, then you may still need to create formulas manually using mathematical operators. Um, so, for example, with a manual formula, you can add one value, divide by another, multiply the result, and then subtract a different value all within the same calculation. This gives you greater flexibility when creating customized formulas. Because of this, both methods have advantages depending on the type of calculation you're trying to perform. Another important point to understand is Excel's error checking system. Depending on how the formulas were created, you may notice a green small thing in the corner of the cell. So these green markers are Excel's way of warning you that there may be possible issues with the formula. If you click on one of those cells, um, Excel may display a message such as formula omits adjacent cells right here. This means Excel believes that there are nearby cell containing numeric values that may have been accidentally left out of the formula. In many cases, Excel is simply trying to help identify potential mistakes. In this worksheet, the warning may appear because the formula does not include the date value located above this value, the selected range. Although the cells contain a date, Excel stores dates as numerical values internally. As a result, Excel assumes the number might need to be included in the calculation. In this situation, the warning can safely be ignored because the a date should not be part of total. To remove the warning, click on the error icon and you can click on ignore error. Uh, Understanding these indicators is important because sometimes Excel warning identify genuine mistakes, while other times there are simply suggestions that do not apply to the current calculation. Always review the warning carefully before deciding whether to correct or ignore it. The sum function is one of the many built-in functions available in Microsoft Excel. Excel contains hundreds of functions designed to help users perform calculation, analyze data, and automate common spreadsheet tasks. Another highly useful and commonly used function is the average function. The average function is used to calculate the mean value of the group of numbers instead of manually adding values together and dividing them individually. Excel can perform the entire calculation automatically using a single formula. To begin, move down to row 12 and type average in cell A12. This label will help identify the calculation being performed. Next, select B12. This is where the average value for the current month's bill will be calculated. In this example, the calculation will determine the average expense for February. To create the formula, type equals average. As you begin typing the word average, Excel will display a drop-down list containing all functions that begin with the same letters. You may notice functions such as average, average A, average Fs, and daverage. For this exercise, select standard average function. You can either double-click the function name from the list or press tab key to automatically complete the function name and insert the opening parentheses. Once the parentheses are open, select the range of cells containing the values you want average. In this worksheet, select the range B5 to B9. The complete formula should appear as equals average in bracket B5 B9. After selecting the range, close the parentheses and press enter. Excel will instantly calculate and display average value for selected cells. The average function works by first adding all the selected values together and then dividing the total by the numbers of entry included in the range. For example, if the values are 1200, 450, 795, 150, Excel will calculate total and divide it by 5, resulting in an average of 519. Although the process is very similar to using the sum function, the purpose of calculation is different. The sum function adds the value together to create a total, while average functions calculate the mean value of a group of numbers. The average functions is extremely useful in many situations, such as calculating averages, monthly expenses, average sales figures, average test scores, or average performance measurements. It helps users quickly analyze data and identify trends without needing to perform calculations manually. Take some time to practice using the average function in different sections of the worksheet. The more you work with the function such as sum and average, the more efficient and confident you will become with working Microsoft Excel. So after working with the sum and average functions, the next two functions to learn are min and max. These functions are often used together because they help identify the smallest and the largest value within a selected range of cells. They are simple to use and extremely useful when analyzing data inside a spreadsheet. The min function is designed to return the minimum value from a range, meaning the lowest number found in the selected cell, and the max functions work in the opposite way by returning the maximum value or the highest number within the selected range. To begin, remain in the monthly budget spreadsheet and move below average section. In the first empty row, type min as a label and directly below it type max as a label. These labels help organize the worksheet and make the calculation easier to identify. Next, select the cell beside the min label, such as the B13, and begin entering the formula type equals MIN. Sorry, MIN. So once the MIN function appears in the down drop list, either double click it or press tab key. I personally pressed tab key to automatically insert the function and open an opening parenthesis. Now select the range of the cells. Except to evaluate in this example, select the range B5 to B9. Once the range is selected, close the parenthesis and press enter. The completed formula should appear as equals min in bracket B5 to B9. Excel will instantly calculate and display the smallest value from the selected cell. For example, if the range contains the value 1200, 450, 795, and 150, the min function will return 95 because it is the lowest value in the range. The max function is created using the same process. Select the cell beside the max label and type equals back max. So then select the same range of cells, B5 to B9. Excel will then return the largest value from the selected range. In this case, the result will be 1200 because it's the highest number among the selected values. At this point, you have now learned four essential Excel functions: sum, average, min, and max. So these functions are widely used in budgeting, finance, accounting, reporting, inventory management, sales tracking, and many other professional tasks. They help users analyze information, quickly reduce manual calculation, and improve overall efficiency when working with spreadsheets. For example, the sum function can calculate total monthly expenses or income. Average can determine average spending patterns. Min can identify smallest expense or the lowest sales amount, and the max can highlight the highest payment or best performing month. Understanding where, how, and how to use this function is an important part of developing strong Excel skills. As you continue practicing, try applying these functions to different ranges of cell within your worksheet to see how the results change. The more experience you gain using the functions like sum, average, min, and max, the more confident and efficient you will become when managing and analyzing data in Excel. So the functions covered so far, including sum, average, min, and max, are considered some of the most basic and commonly used functions in Microsoft Excel. Although Excel contains more than 400 built-in functions, these four are among the most important because they provide a strong foundation for working with data and performing calculations effectively. Each of these functions follows similar structure. You begin with an equal sign, then type the function name, select a range of cells, and Excel automatically performs the calculation. This makes working with spreadsheet much faster and more organized compared to creating every calculation manually. Another important basic function to understand is the count function. The count function is used to count the number of cells within a selected range that contain numeric values. Unlike the sum function, which adds number together, count simply checks how many cells contain numbers and return the total. To begin with, move below the max section of the worksheet and type count as a label. Next, select the cell beside the label where the results will appear and start typing the formula by typing. Start entering the formula by typing. Sorry. Equals count. Yes, and as you type, Excel will display several related functions in the drop-down list. You may notice functions such as count, count A, count blank, count if, count ifs, decounter. For this exercise, select the standard count function. Once the function is selected, sorry. Once the function is selected, Excel will insert the opening parentheses. Now select the range you want to evaluate. In this example, selecting the range from B5 to B9. It is important to, after closing the if all five cells in the selected range contain numbers, the result will be 5. It is important to understand that the count function only counts cells containing numeric values. If a cell is empty or contains text of a number, it will not include in the count. For example, if one of the bill amount in the range is removed or left blank, count function will automatically reduce the result. Instead of returning 5, it will return 4. Only 4 cells contain numbers. So this makes the count function useful for tracking how many entries, transactions, records, or completed values exist within a data. It is commonly used in the attendance sheet, financial reports, inventory lists, survey data, and many other types of spreadsheets. So at this point, you have learned 5 essential Excel functions: sum, average, min, max, count. These functions provide a strong introduction to Excel formulas and data analysis. They're simple to use, highly practical, and widely applied in both personal and professional spreadsheets. Take some time to practice using count function with different ranges of cells, then continue applying some max, min, and count across the remaining ones in the worksheet to strengthen your understanding and improve your Excel skills. After working with the functions such as sum, average, min, max, and count, it is important to learn another feature that makes calculation even faster in Microsoft Excel. This feature is called AutoSum. The AutoSum feature is designed to quickly insert the sum function without requiring the user to type the function manually. Because the sum function is one of the most commonly used functions in Excel, Microsoft created a dedicated button that can automatically detect and total nearby data with a single click. To begin with, return to the monthly budget spreadsheet and remove the existing total from the spreadsheet. Select the range B10 to F10 and hold down the control key, and also select the F5 to F9. Using control key allows you to select non-adjacent ranges of cell at the same time. Once both ranges are selected, press the delete key to remove the totals. After deleting the formulas, you may notice that the percentage cell may display errors. This occurs because the formula is no longer the formulas no longer have totals available for the calculation. For now, this error can be ignored. Next, select cell B10, where the first monthly total will be recalculated. Go to the formulas tab and locate the AutoSum button. It's actually right here. So the AutoSum button command is represented by a Greek sigma symbol. When you click on the AutoSum button, Excel automatically inserts the sum function and attempts to identify the correct ranges of cell to total. In this case, the Excel correctly selects the range B5 to B9, if you can see. The formulas will appear as equals sum in bracket B5 to B9. Press enter to confirm the formula. Your total will be calculated instantly. You can repeat the same process for the remaining monthly totals. So simply select the next cell, click the AutoSum button, and Excel will automatically insert the formula. One important feature of Excel AutoSum is its default behavior when detecting data ranges. By default, AutoSum first looks upward for numeric values. So if it detects two or more numbers above the active cell, it assumes that that are the cells you want to total. For example, when using AutoSum in the monthly total row, Excel looks upward and correctly selects the value above the active cell. But now, if I do it, it selected the above two cells, G5 and G6, instead of selecting um these ones. Sorry, these ones. So, however, when working in the totals column on the right side of the worksheet, such as cell F5, they may not number exactly above the cell in this situation. AutoSum changes its behavior, instead looking to the left for the numeric values. Excel then correctly selects the ranges B5 to E5 to calculate the row total. So the formula appeared as E5 to E5, F5, sorry. So this automatic detection can save a significant amount of time when reading spreadsheet. However, it is important to always review the selected range before pressing enter. Since AutoSum relies on assumption, it may occasionally choose the wrong cells. For example, if you move further down the total columns, use AutoSum again. Excel may detect number above the cell currently we saw it and incorrectly select them instead of row values to the total. In this case, you simply need to manually correct the selected range before completing the formula. AutoSum is extremely useful feature because it combines speed and convenience with the power of sum function. It reduces manual typing, improves efficiency, and helps user create formulas much faster when working with large amounts of data. Continue practicing by using the AutoSum feature to complete the remaining total in the worksheet. As you become more familiar with the Excel, tool like AutoSum will help streamline your workflow and make spreadsheets calculation more efficient. The sum function is one of the most commonly used functions in Microsoft Excel, which is why Excel provides both an AutoSum button and a keyboard shortcut to make calculation faster. Firstly, the totals currently displayed in the worksheet by selecting the cells and pressing the delete key. Then click into the cell where you want the total to appear, such as B10. Now press Alt plus equals. So this shortcut automatically inserts the sum function and selects the range of cells Excel believes should be included in the formula. For example, sum in bracket equals sum in bracket B5 to B9. If the selected range is correct, press enter to calculate the total instantly. The shortcut works the same way as the AutoSum button on the formula tab. So it is important to confirm that Excel has selected the correct cell before completing the formula. One of the most useful features of this shortcut is that it can calculate multiple totals at the same time. For example, you can start You can select the ranges B10 to F10, then hold Control key, and also select uh, F5 to F9. Once all the required cells are selected, press Alt plus equals. Excel will automatically show measures. This, like this. Now, if you can see, Excel will automatically insert some formula into all selected cells at once, saving time and reducing manual work. The Alt plus equal shortcut is one of the most practical Excel shortcuts because it speeds up calculation, improves efficiency, and makes working with spreadsheets much easier.